Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Brandon over here at BRE Software. It's just me alone today. I feel so lonely right now. But anyway, so today we're generally going to be talking about the review for Injustice 2. We're also going to be talking about on how we refurbish our N64 controllers over here. And also going to be talking about these lovely breakaway cables that people have been asking about the past few weeks. And I figured, touch a little bit on it. And also, we would also be talking about, future, the upcoming releases because E3 is around the corner and I'm really excited for it. So, Injustice 2 just came out today. Some of my friends have bought it already and, they're already playing it as is because they went to the midnight release. And so far, it's actually been pretty promising. Definitely liking a lot of the diverse characters that are already in there right now. One I'm probably going to be particularly playing would generally be like Wonder Woman. Reason being is because I actually did play her in the previous game. But let's talk about like how it is so far. So Injustice 2 is the story. I'm going to take a guess at, don't quote me on this, that the story probably still takes place after the first one. I could be completely wrong because I haven't touched the story mode, so don't quote me on that. But what else is there? They said that the story is about 4 to 5 hours long, but either way, like for me personally, like when it comes to a fighting game, like I understand that some people would like the juiciness of a story like a little bit more, but I know like generally like those kind of fighting games like example like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, etc. Their story modes aren't that long, but that's fine because you're basically just getting like the gist of everything that's happened. And some people have been saying that they want a little bit more story. Personally, I don't mind. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, they try to put all that they could into the story mode because mostly, generally, it's still targeted towards, generally, like, the online multiplayer itself. Like, fighting other people. And that's totally fine. But, aside from that line, let's see what else is there. The online multiplayer has been really promising so far. I haven't seen any issues with it online yet, but we won't know until as time goes on, because they'll be like, oh, so much lag, I can't stand it. But I understand that some servers can only do so much. But and also they were talking about the DLC characters like a Starfire and the guest hero that's coming in, Sub-Zero, since Scorpion was the last one in the previous game. But they're also throwing in, from what I saw in the background, Raiden. Don't mean to steal your thunder there, but but other than that, like the game has been looking pretty promising so far, and it's had some decent, good reviews. But for until then, it's another fighting game to me, and I wouldn't mind touching it because I love playing fighters in general, especially with the upcoming. It's not under the same company that made it, but I'm looking forward to the new Marvel vs. Capcom game that's coming out. So it's going to go back to its roots of one-on-one with one assist, so I really look forward to that, to bring it that old retro feel. But other than that, so let's move on to these lovely little things. It's the breakaway cable for the 360. So what these are for is generally like let's just say if it's a wired controller or a wired guitar, for Guitar Hero or even Rock Band, or anything that requires these. Basically, example, like say if you buy a guitar from, I don't know, a yard sale, but it doesn't have this piece, so you can't even use it. You're like, oh my god, where do I get these? And we have them here, so you can actually come and buy these. Basically, this would go into the other half of the wired portion of the controller that it may look like it's missing a piece, and then you can be able to use it again for all your wired 360 controllers or wired Rock Band controllers, like with the guitars or even the drum set. I believe uses one, I couldn't remember. But for sure, we've had people bought these the past few days because they're missing for their wired guitars for their 360. But we generally sell these from around 6 to 10, give or take. But either way, like it's good that we have these now. So now you guys can come in, save your wired guitars or even wired controllers you may have found, somewhere buried in your garage maybe, or maybe a friend got it for you, or like I said, probably buy it at a yard sale. And then there's that. And another thing to touch on is regards to E3. So E3 is around the corner. They generally happen, around in the summertime. And I'm really, really excited for what's going to be happening. I mean, there's tons of, like, E3 is like probably if not one of the most exciting times for all gamers across, whether it be console or PC, because anything, like, we can imagine like what could be coming out. In particular, we might even get news about the Xbox Scorpio from Microsoft, and who knows, like, what it'll bring to the table. But now it's going to be another console war maybe between the Switch, the Scorpio, and the possibly rumored PlayStation 5. But and I'm also thinking of what games could be coming out for the Scorpio, like along the lines of the franchises of maybe Gears, because I know Gears of War 4 left us on a cliffhanger. I don't want to say any spoilers, but for you Gears of War fans out there, I'm pretty sure like how it might continue, and I'm really it was a crazy ending. I was like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that, but that was really cool that they still continued on from that. And what else is there? Like, who knows? Maybe even Halo 6. I don't know. I mean, I know we have 5 right now, but I honestly don't know how they could continue after 6, because I know that not Bungie, freaking 343 Industries, I think they were talking about making 4 to 6, a trilogy like Halo 1 to 3. But I mean, aside from those two, like, I'm curious on what other games would be coming out aside from Yooka-Laylee, because I know Yooka-Laylee's across the board on a Switch and probably other consoles that are already out currently, like the Wii U and stuff. Because I know they wanted to branch that out as much as they could, because it's going to be the successor to Banjo-Kazooie, and that'll be really interesting. And maybe during the E3 conference, we might even hear possibly more games about the Switch that we might not know about. They might even touch on Splatoon 2, since it actually is probably going to be out by then. Or maybe if not, definitely for sure they might talk more about Mario Odyssey, since it's not coming out till winter. And who knows, like, they might even touch on more titles that would be coming out maybe on the 3DS. Because I know with the 2D, like their new 2DS, that this is basically going to be the last handheld of the 3DS's period. You might, like I said, talk about new games for that. And in regards with the Switch, maybe they might even talk about more games that are coming out later in the year that we don't know about yet, because I know that they gave us a list back in March, but who knows, they might have added more. Or they might even touch on some games that might come out earlier next year. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I don't know what Sony's going to throw at us. I really don't, because I don't think Sony's really talked about anything from what I know, from what I've been reading around. And I don't read around quite often, but I'm just going off from what I hear. So, but yeah, with the new Scorpio coming out, and like I said, the rumored PlayStation 5 is going to be another console war. So it'll be really interesting to see how it's going to turn out. Especially, and I think another thing that they might touch on with the Switch would be the Virtual Console for the GameCube, because they were mentioning that the Virtual Console was going to be out for Nintendo GameCube games on the shop market for the Switch. So that I'm definitely really looking forward to, so I can play some of my old GameCube games on there again. Even though I still have some physical copies of them, there's some that I absolutely cannot find. Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance. But yeah, it's going to be a really amazing E3. I really want to go. Really, really bad. Because I had never been to E3, and I've always been wanting to go there for such a long time. But other than that, I think we'll stop on that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about for today is on how we refurbish our N64 controllers. Now, I'm pretty sure you haven't seen this color in a good while. We've had a lot of N64 controllers in the back. And we had to refurbish all these because either the stick wasn't working, or it was just like a flimsy like lob, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to work anymore. But basically, inside of these, basically you could just unscrew these from right here, and these little holes, each of those is a screw. You're able to unscrew those with maybe it looks like a star screwdriver. I call it star screwdriver. I mean, I know I had the term wrong, so don't get me on that. But you can just unscrew this all together, because this in its entirety is a shell. So you can take all that apart, and on the inside of it is like, you see all the little like the wiring for like the buttons and stuff. But generally, like what would be that we generally would be taking out is the stick, because it doesn't work anymore. So we actually have our own replacement sticks. And once we take this one out, we pop a new one back in, and then when we put it all back together, I make sure that I play test it on, like, you know, a game that requires, like, you know, every button to be pressed. An example could be like Mario Golf. Like, you know, there are some buttons out there that you really don't need to use, like right trigger, left trigger, but they still do something. And same with the C buttons as well. And we also make sure that, you know, the D-pad works and everything after we, you know, take it apart and put everything together. But either way, what's great is that we saved so many N64 controllers that we had sitting back here. And now we're turning them over, and we sell each of these for 35 bucks. Yeah, I know it may sound a little pricey, but, you know, either way, like, these were all controllers that could have been trashed and, you know, never see the light of day again. But other than that, I think that's about it on what we would touch on. So thank you all for watching today. And, you know, if you have any, you know, comments or anything afterward, like even after this is over, be sure to leave them right down below. And we'll be sure to answer them as soon as we can, okay? So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the next one, maybe on Thursday. Take care.